Hello, and welcome to the Beyond Borders podcast, the podcast that explores topics related to international trade. Today, we're going to walk you through the steps to get registered for the CARM client portal and make it easy so that you can check this on your to-do list today. This podcast is brought to you by Buckland. For over 75 years, Buckland has been working to help companies across the world experience global trade in a better way. As a customer-focused company, we will provide you with a single source of unmatched customs brokerage, trade managed solutions, freight forwarding, trade technologies, and warehousing and distribution services. I'm your host, Jenny Kaus, Corporate Marketing Manager at Buckland. And as I mentioned, today we are going to help you through the steps of registering for the CARM client portal. If you're interested in checking out resources about CARM, such as downloadable printables, on-demand webinars, check out buckland.com/CARM. And I'm very fortunate today to be joined by my colleague, Sarah Hebert. Sarah is an account manager here at Buckland and holds her Certified Customs Specialist designation in Canada, as well as the United States. And she's also a Certified Trade Compliance Specialist. Sarah has over a decade of experience in the industry and has worked with a wide range of importers across industries. Hello, Sarah.
Hi, Jenny. Thanks for having me.
This is great. And I'm glad to be able to have a chat with you today about CARM. I know it's very much been on our minds in the news and something that we have been talking to clients a lot about. So I thought maybe today you and I could walk through the steps. And I thought maybe the best place to get started would be kind of like, we'll start with a little bit of a primer of like, what is CARM, in case there's an importer out there that is wondering, what are we even talking about? So we'll kind of back it up and then we'll get into the details. Does that work for you?
That works. That's a great idea. I know there's a lot of questions surrounding CARM and what it is, and we've been talking about it for so long, but we're still getting a lot of questions from importers because they're not quite sure what it means for them. So let's go through that. Let's simplify it. And I will start by saying, I promise it's not as scary as it seems. So CARM is an acronym that stands for the Canada Border Service Agency Assessment and Revenue Management. So CARM. And basically, it is a Government of Canada project. It is a multi-phase, multi-year initiative which will modernize, streamline, and transform the collection of duties and taxes on goods imported into Canada. CARM will allow trade chain partners to have an online cloud-based portal where they can view their business numbers, apply for new business numbers, make payment of duties and taxes, view their statement of account with CBSA, have access to register for rulings, HS classification, and so much more.
Wow, that's great. Okay, so that sounds like it's obviously a great tool for people to have and be able to access that. Who is going to be impacted by this and who needs to know about it? I'm wondering if you can clarify that.
I can absolutely clarify that, Jenny. The simple answer is if you have a business number and you are importing into Canada, you have to register for CARM. This is very important for importers into Canada because it's changing the way that commercial goods will be imported, and it's accompanying the CARM client portal for self-service access for importers. Right now, it's optional, but it will be mandatory very soon. So the sooner that you can get registered and check this off your list, the longer you have to become familiar with it before it's an expectation of CBSA. But the short answer is, if you are a company importing commercial goods under a Canadian business number, you are required to register for CARM.
Great. Excellent. Thank you. Now, I did just hear you mention the CARM client portal, and that is obviously what we're here to talk about today, because that is one of the steps that you need to initially take is get signed up for that. So let's talk about the CARM client portal.
Yes, the CARM client portal. This is something that everyone is talking about, and they're saying, what is this? Going to their brokers, what do I need to do? So the CARM client portal went live just over a year ago. it is very important to note it is still not in the mandatory time frame, but that time frame is rapidly approaching. So while it's not mandatory, it's still optional. Highly recommend. So what we want to do is we want to walk you through some of the necessary steps to get registered and simplify this and take the scariness out of this process for you.
Yeah. And I know that a lot of people have been putting off taking these next steps. So in terms of encouraging people to not procrastinate and to get on this sooner rather than later, because as you mentioned, it's not mandatory at this point. And even though it's not mandatory and it's not something they have to do today, it is really the best idea to get going with it. So do you want to maybe help encourage people and tell them why it's important to get going with this registration?
Absolutely, Jenny. Thank you. As you mentioned, it's not mandatory yet, but it will be very soon. So a few reasons why you're going to want to register early. Register early so there's no disruptions in your import activity. It's not going to happen during the first phase, but if you're not registered and registered correctly with a broker delegated by release 2, your shipments will not be allowed to be imported into Canada. I'm going to repeat that. If a business has not registered for CARM and delegated a broker by release 2, you will not be allowed to import into Canada. This could potentially cause a lot of delays to your supply chain. And as everyone's aware, our supply chain already has a lot of extra delays that we're not used to. So another reason that you're going to want to proactively register now is to become familiar and comfortable with the portal. There are so many tools available in there. Take advantage of them. They're there. Learn them. We're here to help you learn them. And the last item is to make sure that you have all of the correct parties delegated as authorities to act on your behalf. Just because you register for the CARM portal, if you have not delegated authority to all of your service providers to act on your behalf with CBSA, they will not be allowed to going forward when release 2 comes out. Some of the benefits to you to getting registered include you're going to have the ability to grant access to portal account to your third-party service providers. So all of our wonderful clients at Buckland, you will grant access to Buckland. And what we will be able to do is see exactly your statement of account and match it up with our statement of account to ensure that everything is correct and accurate between the importer, the broker, CBSA, and CRA. You will have the option to make online payments via credit card or pre-authorized debit directly for your GST, your duties and taxes. There's tools available on the CARM client portal to help you classify your goods and estimate duties and taxes before you import into Canada. So if you're a smaller importer and you're importing some strange things that you've never really imported, there's tools there to support you right at your fingertips. It's going to be amazing. You will also have the Application Program Interface, API, to retrieve tariff data. You will have the ability to electronically request rulings and track your progress. So really, I can't stress this enough. Do it now, get it done with. It gives you and your team time to really understand and learn that CARM portal. And it gives us time to support you with any questions you have before crunch time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when it comes to something like you were saying, with your supply chain and, like of all times, this is not when we want to have delays.
No.
Our shipments held up. And the sooner you can get going with it and get experienced and comfortable, I think that that's a great idea because there's nothing like doing it at the last minute and having those issues. We do not want businesses to run that way for sure. And we certainly don't want that for our clients or for anybody who's an importer into Canada. So that's great. And I think there's so many great tools there that even if, you feel like you're doing it too early, like why not start taking advantage of those tools that are available to you and ultimately will just help your business. So that's great. Okay. I feel like people will understand it really is the best idea to get signed up for CARM, the client portal now. And then now let's move into talking about, okay, so they know they need to do it. It's the best idea to do it. how do they do it? What if they're going to sit down today after this and they're like, okay, I'm going to do it. What should they have ready with them? What are they going to need?
Those are some great questions. It's actually very simple. Before you register for the CARM client portal, you're going to want to gather a few details. The first is your legal business name, legal business address, and your business number. When I say legal, this needs to be exactly how it is registered with the Canadian government. So if you are an Ontario numbered account, it has to be the Ontario numbered account. If you are a company with a DBA, it's got to be the full company DBA and how you're operating as. So your legal business name, legal business address, and your business number. You're going to require a list or access to your most recent transactions with CBSA. In particular, we're looking for the total amount of duties and taxes on each transaction. You will need the exact value of your most recent payment to the CBSA and the exact value of your most recent statement of account with the CBSA. And anyone listening, I'm sure you're like, hold up, what are these information or what are these pieces of information? Because a lot of importers do not know. They rely on their broker. So here at Buckland, we have a CARM committee that is dedicated to supporting our importers get set up for CARM. So what you can do is if you do not have all of this information, just reach out to us directly. Jenny will share an email at the end of the podcast, and we can support you with your most recent payment, your most recent statement of account value, and the list of transactions with duties and taxes. So you'll just have to gather your legal business name, address, and business number. We can support with the rest.
Excellent. That's great. And yeah, people can definitely reach out to us, and I'll put a link in the show notes as well, so that if people need to reach out. And of course, I mentioned that buckland.com/CARM, tons of resources there as well and ways to get in touch. So please feel free to do that. Okay, so this person's sitting there, I'm imagining them being completely ready. They've got all of their details. They're ready to get going. What are their next steps to get registered?
So let's walk through those steps. Anyone listening, please feel free to pause. I'm going to try and do this slowly, leaving a break in between so you can hit pause and you can actually walk through the portal setup with us. So step one, go to buckland.com/CARM and grab the printable with the steps if you need it. But step one, on the CARM client portal homepage, you're going to select log in to the CARM client portal. Step two, you're going to select either option number one, which is continue to sign on partner, or option number two, continue to GC key. We highly recommend utilizing option two, as option one utilizes a sign-on partner similar to your banking information. And remember, we are doing this at a business level, not a personal level. So we highly recommend choosing option two, continue to GC key. Step three, you're going to follow the prompts and sign up for a GC key. This is very straightforward. Just follow the steps. If you already have a GC key in place, you can sign in using your existing GC key. So if you are an importer who is also filing export filings directly with the CBSA under Sears, you should already have a GC key sign on. Step four, once you have signed up for your GC key, you will be asked to verify your email via a multi-step authentication. Fill in your email address and enter the code that's emailed to you. From here, you're going to navigate to the CARM client portal. Step five, read the fun and lovely terms and conditions of use. And if you agree, accept. If you do not agree, you will not be able to move forward. Therefore, you will not be able to import. Step six, create your personal profile as prompted on the screen. We highly recommend when you are creating your personal profile that you subscribe to email notifications for the CARM client portal. This is a government website. They will not be sending you notifications for anything outside of items that are actually important and pertinent to you. Step 7, register my business. To do this, we're going to move on to step 8. Under step 8, beginning the registration of your business, you're going to enter your 9-digit business number. Then, in the box below, you're going to enter your RM number and check the box that you are authorized to register this business. What is your RM number, you're asking? So every company in Canada has a 9-digit business number, and then they have suffixes afterwards. So for example, if you're utilizing your business number and you're primarily familiar with filing taxes, it will be an RT number followed by 0001 is always the first one registered, but you can have multiple. So you could have RM 0002, etc. This is why it's very important to obtain your legal business number prior to registering. Typically, import numbers are RM, and typically the first one is 001. So it would be your 9-digit business number, RM 0001, or the applicable RM 000 number afterwards. Step 9 is we're going to enter the legal business name and address as requested. It's very important to note if it doesn't accept your answers, this means you need to verify the legal name and address on file with CBSA because what is being entered does not match CBSA's system. It has to be an exact match, including the punctuation. So if you have any troubles and it's not accepting what you have, we will also in the show notes provide a 1-800 number to CBSA where you can verify all of that information to ensure what is on file with the government versus what you have as your legal name and address. As a side note, we have discovered there are quite a few companies that perhaps had a name change with the CRA, but didn't update it with the CBSA. So there is some discrepancies happening there. Once you have everything entered and the system accepts it, step 10 is the CARM client portal is going to ask you to verify the business. There will be questions to be completed, so you'll have to select 2 and input the answers. These questions are going to be, for example, what is the exact value of duties and taxes on a recent transaction? And then the system is going to spit out a transaction number for you. That is why we recommend having a list or access to your recent transactions to verify those duties and taxes. One of the next questions is what is the exact value of your most recent payment to CBSA? And what is the exact value of your most recent statement of account with CBSA? So you'll pick 2 of those 3 questions, input the question or select the question and input the answer. And then once you have entered them, you will be asked to review and confirm that the information is correct. And that's it. You're registered.
That is, hearing you kind of very patiently walk through those steps, it definitely seems like after hearing that, very doable, very straightforward. I feel like this is now feeling easy. So thank you for walking through it. I know that a lot of those clarifications will really help because, we've all had those times where we're sitting there looking at an online form wondering, okay, but what does that mean? So that's super helpful. So thank you. The other thing I heard you mention, so there was kind of 2 pieces here. It was like signing up for the client portal, which is obviously the thing that we need to do first. But you also mentioned delegating authority to your broker. So is that something that you can also maybe just, if we're going to have, we can have kind of both things so we can get this all done at once and
yes.
with those walkthrough instructions?
I would be happy. And this is the important part. So yes, we've registered. We've got the business register with the CARM client portal. You're right. There's a step 2. We have to delegate authority to your service providers. This is super easy. The CBSA has allowed all brokers to send them an uploadable Excel spreadsheet with all of the importer business numbers that they do business on behalf of. So how do we get that delegation authority granted? Once you have registered the business for the CARM client portal and you're in there, it's going to be on the homepage. If you're not still in there, you sign in and go to your homepage. On there, you're going to see a box about mid-page on the right-hand side that says Manage Pending Third-Party Requests. You're going to click on this box. In here, you will see either just one or multiples from different service providers. So you'll see either one request or multiple requests. From there, you're going to click on, so there'll be the service provider's name and approve or decline. You're going to click on approve for these service providers that you would like to grant authority to. So let's say it's Buckland. You'll see Buckland. You're going to click on approve. Once you have clicked on approve, there is a drop-down box. You will select all programs. Then another drop-down box will appear beside that. You will select business management. Once you have selected all programs in business management, there will be a box at the lower side of the screen. You're going to leave this box completely alone, and it should be checked to say that the service provider can only see what they do on your behalf. We want to leave it that way. Unless you have a service provider that you would like to see everything being done on your behalf with the CBSA, always leave it so that that service provider can only see what that service provider does for you. From here, you're going to review the details and select approve. Once you have done that, you can repeat those steps until you have granted authority to all of the service providers that you would like to grant authority to. Now, I'm going to throw one more piece of information at you. If you go into your Manage Pending Third-Party Requests and you're expecting to see a service provider there that you do not see, you can request access from them. You can either do this by entering their business number, or additionally, here at Buckland, we just recommend you give us an email and we'll send you the request. So then you see it in there the next time you sign in.
Great. And what would be the best email to reach out to with that? Just whoever your account manager is, or is there a direct one that you would use?
Absolutely. At this time, you can definitely reach out to your account manager. We're all here to support you. You can also reach out to client support CA at buckland.com. And our wonderful client support team will make sure that someone from our CARM committee gets in contact with you.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you for that. So I think for me, that really helps, because now if we have kind of like those two pieces, we've walked through step by step, that should give us that foundation that we need so that we can get comfortable, get using this, and be ready well in advance of when the mandatory date is. And best of all, start taking advantage of a lot of those tools that are available and are so useful to your business. So that is great. Thank you so much, Sarah.
You're welcome. Guys, I want to add two very important pieces of information. We have walked you through how to get set up and how to get a service provider delegated. You will also need to make sure that you have two individuals from each business registered. The first person that registers the business is automatically a BAM, a business account manager, for the CARM portal with CBSA. Highly, highly recommend that you have a colleague register and you make the second person also a BAM. The reason for this is CBSA has advised us that they are not able to grant access to individuals or remove access from individuals. So, because we're talking about commercial business here, let's say that you have someone registered as the BAM and they are the only person. Heaven forbid they leave the company. They still have access as your business account manager with the CARM client portal, and no one else can remove them from that role except for themselves. So make sure you have two BAMs. on each account.
Great.
The next tip is make sure that you are signing into the CARM client portal at a minimum at least once every 6 months. Because this is still in a non-mandatory compliance phase, if you have not signed in at least once in 6 months, you will be disabled. So as the mandatory date is approaching us in next 2023, make sure you're still signing on to keep yourself active, or you'll have to go through the whole registration process again.
That's great. Those are excellent tips. And I think that's a great idea to kind of give yourself a little bit of a reminder, put something in your calendar to remember to sign in. And of course, we hope everybody's signing in and checking that, the client portal out and using the tools that it offers. So hopefully they're in there more frequently. So Sarah, thank you so much. All those steps are so helpful, as well as those extra little bonus tips that we didn't even bargain for, but we're so thankful to have. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome, Jenny. It's been a pleasure.
And I just wanted to reiterate too, to visit buckland.com/CARM. That's where we're kind of keeping all of the information that we're talking about CARM. We can access webinars, you can get downloadable guides, including the instructions that you've heard from Sarah today. Those are all put together on a one-page document to help you follow along. So please do feel free to check that out. And again, reach out to us at Client Support CA at buckland.com if there's any issues with getting your business registered or delegating authority. And that is the Beyond Borders podcast for today. Thank you to Sarah Hebert for your help in making the CARM client portal registration easy and most of all, achievable. Check out buckland.com/CARM for loads of resources to help you prepare for CARM. And if you're looking for other resources for international trade, check out buckland.com and click on Learning across the top of the website. Here you will find a wide range of resources, including learning guides, webinars, and podcasts. Our downloadable learning guides include Incoterms charts, common trade terminology, how to avoid border delays, and many more. And we have live webinars, on-demand webinars as well, and you're welcome to check those out. And the best way to keep up to date on all of these resources, of course, is through our weekly newsletter. We send out a newsletter every Wednesday, and it contains our latest resources, the latest trade news headlines, right to your inbox. So do sign up for that. You can go to buckland.com/newsletter and get signed up for that to make sure that you never miss information to help your business. And for more information about Buckland, check us out, buckland.com. Or you can check us out on Twitter at Buckland Tweets, on our LinkedIn company page, on Instagram, which is at Buckland Insta, and Facebook. Thank you for listening to the Beyond Borders podcast, and be sure to tune in again and subscribe for more great conversations about importing, exporting, and everything else in the world of logistics and international trade.